Well, my favorite brown truck showed up today bearing gifts, so it's time for the next step in my Remington 700 AAC-SD precision build. Today we received a muzzle brake and a bolt lift. The muzzle brake I chose is a Badger FTE Micro. I'm not overly concerned with 308 recoil, but I need to be able to spot the splash through the scope, and a muzzle brake is very helpful in that. So I was looking for a compromise between maximum effectiveness without being too terribly loud. The Badger Ordnance FTE has a reputation for being very effective, but it is also skull-crushingly loud. So this FTE Micro is much lighter and is about 1/3 the size. Should be a good compromise between volume and effectiveness. The bolt lift is the KRG bolt-on bolt lift. It's a simple little polymer bolt-on device and is pretty cheap, at around $24, $25, but it's actually quite ergonomic and works nicely. Both these items come with what you need to install them. The Badger comes with a crush washer, and the KRG bolt lift comes with some O-rings to produce a tight fit, and of course the screw. And this extremely fancy box that makes me feel like I paid too much for it. But at $24 or $25, it's hard to complain. So anyway, let's get them on the rifle. Okay, the rifle is shipped with this thread protector over the 5/8 24 threads. So we'll install the crush washer with the small diameter toward the shoulder, and then of course the dish side or the large diameter towards the brake. And I'll just thread this on. I like to go backwards until I feel the click, so I know I've engaged the threads properly. Help avoid cross-threading. Badger doesn't offer any instructions, but general for torque values for muzzle devices is pretty broad range, generally 20 to 34 inches. So I've got my torque wrench set up for about the low end of that. And we'll just bring her down to indexer. Okay, and there's the torque. We'll adjust the wrench up so we make sure we don't exceed the maximum. And then we'll just clock it. Okay, right now I'm just eyeing it up. And then to check, I'll just put a simple level over the rail and make sure that's centered up. And then also put it on the brake. And it looks like we got about another 10 degrees to go. Okay, of course you can tell up and down on this brake because the slots start on the side, the whole bottom is solid, and then they extend past the shoulder to the top. So this band is much more narrow on the top, but it still gives you a good flat to be able to wrench on and to tell if it's level. And matches very nicely with this AAC-SD barrel diameter. Looks good, and we'll get it out to the range and see how it performs. The KRG did actually come with instructions, although it's reasonably self-evident. Also a sticker, and again this very fancy tin box. Also came with 2 sets of O-rings, and the idea is that you're going to use whichever set will produce the tightest fit while still closing completely with your bolt. My bolt is a little larger than some, so bolt handle, so won't take the large O-rings. Can't get the bolt lift to seat all the way with them. So anyway, you just throw this O-ring on here. like so, and take the top. The top is one with the little slot and the threads here, and just place it on. Hold it in place, fit it over. O-ring on that side, and just make sure these pins seat in their corresponding holes. It's one of those things you can use an extra hand for. Alright, so that's a pretty tight fit. We'll gap that up, and doesn't feel like that's going to move at all. So we just set the screw in and tighten her up. Alright, now before I get that gorilla tight, I'll just check the fit in the rifle. Okay, there she is. Well, there's not much left to do before this rifle is ready to fire. In the next episode, we'll address the comb height.